Tell us more about the acquisition of your company by this global real estate giant. I mean, you're not giving us figures, but is it good news for the country?
It's fantastic news for the country. Jones Lang LaSalle is a truly global company. It employs about 40,300 people in over 1,000 locations in 60 countries around the world. And this is their first entry into our wonderful country. I think the good news is on a number of levels.
Yeah.
Firstly, is to see that international corporates are actually looking at direct investment in the country, which is fantastic. It gives us the most incredible platform to promote South Africa and our cities, as well as general business opportunities through the network around the globe.
The timing, I think, is what's gotten many people raising their eyebrows. As we know that post-credit crisis property really suffered an incredible knock. It's been struggling to just regain that momentum. Was it clever to come now into a depressed market?
The focus of Jones Lang is primarily on financial and professional services around the real estate industry. And typically when we have this point in the cycle of the property market, our clients, which are primarily occupiers, start focusing attention towards how they can reduce costs and consolidate their facilities, and this really is a Jones Lang speciality. In fact, that is the primary driver of coming into the market now, because we've seen an increased demand for these services, and although Bradford McCormack has provided them locally for a while, we just need that additional intellectual capital and that additional input.
Right.
The other thing is that with regard to the multinational corporates, they now know that they can get seamless services. In other words, the services they're used to receiving internationally in terms of products and offerings are now available here in a fully owned office.
Just give us a sense of the range of products you're offering. If you're saying that margins are low and your corporate clients are wanting to save money, what does that mean exactly within the real estate space?
Well, I'll give you an idea. One of our avenues of activity is what we call property asset management. And within that space, essentially, we look at corporates who have multiple leasehold and freehold facilities around the country. We managed to save our particular client base over 340 million rand last year by re-engineering leases, by getting rid of redundant space, by ensuring that if they did commit to new developments, there were high levels of efficiency. And that is a substantial saving.
Your outlook for the property sector, as I said, right now it's a bit of a depressed market. We're seeing sales flat, prices not really rising, vacancies low. I would assume that although you've got an established client network, you would want to increase on that client base.
Look, yeah, vacancies are actually a little bit higher than they have been in the last while. You're right, the market is actually generally flat. But the wonderful thing about operating, particularly in Gauteng, is we have a constantly shifting demographic. And when the tolls come in, and they will come in one form or another, and by the time the Gautrain infrastructure is up and running, I think we're going to see a major shift in terms of where corporates want to position themselves physically. And obviously that in itself is going to create certain demands for certain areas. It will be a little bit of a case of musical chairs. In other words, some locations will actually become less popular than others, but in terms of the consultancy mode and looking after our clients, for us it's boom time.
I mean, you mentioned Gauteng. Are you going to be focusing on other viable areas? I mean, Cape Town, for instance, has attracted a lot of international investments, maybe not corporate rentals, for instance, but you are seeing a lot of foreigners wanting to buy property assets in the Western Cape.
Absolutely. I mean, we basically operate nationally at the moment, and obviously, we are looking to grow our strength on a national basis.
Okay, let's talk about earnings potential for your new shareholders, for existing shareholders through this merger. I mean, I think a lot of people who invest in property at whatever phase see it as a long-term investment with a 30-year cycle, but obviously bond yields are rising at the moment, and that should impact on capitalization and on the sense of returns on that investment. Is that something shareholders are concerned about?
It doesn't really affect our shareholders because, as I say, Jones Lang LaSalle is primarily in the property services. We do not own any property directly because obviously that would put us in conflict with our ability to consult with our clients. But generally, yes, I do think investors are under pressure, and I think they are looking for a little bit of fizz in yield. And I think to a large extent that may be one of the contributing factors why a number of our lead property funds are actually looking and have in fact invested abroad. And again, that is the wonderful thing about this acquisition. and that is that we can assist them with investments globally and yet ensure them of local accountability.
And just in terms of people servicing their debts, we're already quite concerned about the possibility of interest rates being hiked before the end of 2011. That should impact on servicing debts on property, investments in property for your clients within the sector?
Obviously, it's always a concern. I think, one mustn't confuse the residential sector of the market with the commercial and industrial, which we're involved in. But absolutely, I mean, if interest rates do go up, it puts a pressure on everybody, including the occupant, because obviously that's going to be reflected in the rentals that developers are going to require for new development.
Okay, so South Africa is obviously the focal point for now. Are you looking at a Pan-African strategy, maybe starting with the rest of Southern Africa?
South Africa is Jones Lang's first entrance into Southern and Sub-Saharan Africa. There was an office opened in Cairo about 12 months ago, and there is a small office in Morocco. And absolutely, I mean, if one had to look at a long-term strategy, it obviously would be to be able to accommodate and facilitate our clients' needs throughout Africa. But, at this stage, we haven't really got a solid plan in place. We'll obviously just see what opportunities arise.
Okay, we hope to hear from you soon and just find out how it's all going.